Hello and thanks for joining me. Well, this morning I'm out on the Watkin Path in Snowdonia with my good friend Darren Knight. Haven't seen him since we went to Llanddwyn Island in December. We set out at about 6 a.m. in a pitch dark and we hadn't really got very far up the path when suddenly this happened. Now, to be honest, I've actually done with the photography. There was no way I was going to be able to get some decent images of that spectacular sunrise and bring you along with me. What I've done is I've focused in on this fabulous little tree that's right on the skyline across the valley from where we're stood on the main path. But right behind it, we've got the peak of Moel Siabod, and basically the sky just lit up, beautiful, deep orangey red colours right behind Moel Siabod. Couldn't have been better if we'd booked it. So we're just having a coffee break. We've got all our camera gear out. We're shooting the breeze and having a fabulous time. What we're going to be doing is heading up to the Watkin Path Falls and then up to the hanging valley at the top at Cwm Llan, get a few images up there. Job done.
Perfect.
One take. I don't often cock it up these days.
Do you not?
No, I think it's just, I kind of got past being precious about it. So what do you think of the Watkin Path then?
Beautiful. Always beautiful whenever I come to Snowdonia. The weather that we got today, I mean, that was well worth the 225-mile trip after work last night, that's for sure.
Yeah. I must admit, this is really unusual for this time of year. I mean, not so much the fact that it's not raining or whatever, but the temperature. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Really is. And
Yeah, well, as I say, last night I slept in the van with no heating on. Nothing. I mean, yeah. But they did say, I don't know if this is true or not, could be the warmest February for 200 years.
Yeah.
That's what I heard on the radio yesterday.
I'll make the most of it then. We had a fabulous time shooting sunrise, and unfortunately I just really couldn't get the vlogging setup organised to show you what we were up to. Even though we set out in plenty of time, we'd only got a few hundred yards out of the forest part at the lower part of the track when we could see the sky lighting up, and we had to take advantage of it. What we've done now is we've come down to the bottom of the Watkin Falls. We're probably going to spend a couple of hours here getting some shots of the falls. But before that, what we've done is we've set ourselves up to shoot up and down the valley because we've already spotted compositions. I just heard Darren doing a piece to camera where he's saying, oh, there's compositions everywhere, my backpack's on, my backpack's off. I think it's going to be one of those days. It is absolutely spectacular. So for my first proper composition this morning, notwithstanding the sunrise shots, which hopefully you've already enjoyed, I'm looking up the valley there at this really nice stand of trees. Caught my eye because the sun is just come up over the ridge on the far side of the valley across Nant, Gwynant, and the light on those trees is absolutely stunning. So I'm going to get set up and see if I can get a shot of that, and I'll talk you through that one. So what really caught my eye about this particular composition is the way the gate appears in that cleft in the rock up there, and then leads your eye up to the beautiful little stand of pine trees that are bathed in early spring light. A really classic mountain composition. But I'm really happy with this because this is the sort of light that's quite a rarity. During the summer, when you get decent sunlight all day long, the problem is that it's really high and really harsh. This time of year, when you get this sort of light, it's not normally a lovely, balmy, warm spring morning, so it's a real treat. Darren's even got his brolly out so that he can see his screen, and we are struggling a little bit on that front. Well, this is an image that I didn't really expect to find here, but a big wide vista looking down the valley straight into the sun is not your first thoughts of what might catch your eye. But what's going to be really, really difficult with this is capturing that exposure in a way that I can do something with it effectively, because to the naked eye it looks amazing. The way the stream meanders down the valley, and just at the moment the sunlight is glinting off it, so you can see the line of it really easy. Any other time of day and without the sunlight it wouldn't have anything like the same impact. And the layers in the scene as a background look absolutely fabulous, with a bit of dry stone wall in the bottom corners to frame it up nicely. I really like this. The question is going to be whether or not I can do anything with the exposure. So what I have set up here is 2 0.9 soft grads to try and control the highlights in the sky, and I'm also going to do a 2-stop bracket on this, 3 exposures. Focusing really not too difficult. One of the advantages of the Micro Four Thirds is that I really don't have to worry too much if I've got something that's about 10-15 feet in front of the camera. So the dry stone wall that's in the corners of the frame will be acceptably sharp when I've actually focused on the trees on the ridgeline. It's a constant discussion that landscape photographers seem to have about where to focus. And it always seems to me the short answer is focus on the main thing that you're actually shooting, and then check it, and if necessary adjust it and take another. That's the advantage of digital. You shouldn't really come away from location and not have an image that's in focus. So I'm going to take a few shots of this, and hopefully it will make an image that, from what I can see stood here, should be pretty decent. And the thing with the Watkin Falls is they're really impressive. They run all the way down from Cwm Llan, several hundred feet down into the valley at Nant Gwynant. The problem for me is that I don't see it as a great big epic image. What's caught my eye with this particular composition is just a tiny little side arm of the main falls. And it's where it runs into this beautifully clear pool, where the bottom of the pool is all covered in pebbles, and there's a couple of big boulders in there as well. There isn't a lot of water running down this bit of rock face, but the colours in it are absolutely magnificent. So what I've done is I've set myself up in portrait mode just to get that little cascade where it runs into the pool. But at the top of my shot, I've got this fantastic old tree. At any other time of the year, it really wouldn't be much of a shot because the tree would be in leaf. But at this time of year, with the branches all silhouetted against the sky, I'm hopeful it'll make quite an interesting composition. Now technically it's not a difficult shot at all, very simple, single exposure. Now I am using a filter for the sky, but it's minimal and I could probably get away without it. I just happen to have it already on the camera, so why not? What I have done is I've tightened the aperture down a little bit to f10 so that I can get a shutter speed of about a 20th of a second. It's giving me the amount of movement that I want in the water. I'm not a big fan of waterfalls where the water is just a sheet of white. I want a little bit of texture in it because as it runs over the rock, there is texture to the naked eye. So whilst I want to convey the movement, I don't want to freeze it. At the other end of the scale, I don't want it to be super smooth. So about a 20th of a second is just perfect. I've decided I'm going to leave it there for this one because otherwise it would turn into a bit of an epic. So join me next time when Darren and I head on further up the path, the weather turns nasty and we enjoy some more amazing photography. Thank you ever so much for watching. Oh, by the way, if you haven't done it yet, why not subscribe now and join me next time. Cheers.